Why is it that, like, the more ambitious your morning routine is, the more likely you are to completely derail your own life? You know, you set that alarm for 5 a.m., you plan this grueling workout, an ice bath, a green smoothie, and then you just end up hitting snooze 6 times and scrolling in bed until you're late.
It is, it's really the ultimate paradox of self-improvement. Hi, everyone. It's great to be here. But yeah, we always try to fix a tiny lack of motivation with this massive, unrealistic overhaul.
Right, which just leaves us feeling worse. So welcome to today's deep dive. We're looking at the psychology of goal setting to figure out why breaking everyday promises quietly destroys our self-trust, and how shrinking our habits down is actually the secret to getting it back.
It's a crucial shift, really. Because when we think about broken promises, we usually focus on other people. We completely ignore how often we betray ourselves.
Yeah.
The sources have this praying comparison about a flaking friend.
Oh, the phone call analogy. Like, if a friend kept promising to call you tomorrow, but, never actually picked up the phone, you'd eventually just write them off. You'd stop taking them seriously.
Exactly. You'd stop believing them. And yet, we pull this exact same maneuver on ourselves every single day.
We do. And the fallout from that is pretty severe, right?
It really is. Your brain literally categorizes you as an unreliable source. And to compensate for that sinking feeling of self-doubt, your brain resorts to what the sources call the fantasy plan.
Okay, so that's the 5 a.m. ice bath routine kicking in. But why does the brain go to such an extreme when we are already struggling so much?
Well, it's basically an emotional regulation tactic. When you feel guilty about skipping the gym today, imagining this perfect, highly disciplined version of yourself tomorrow gives you a massive, immediate hit of dopamine.
Oh, wow. So it soothes the guilt without requiring any actual effort today.
Precisely.
It's like swiping a credit card to pay off another credit card.
Yeah.
Yes. You get the temporary relief, but the debt just keeps compounding. So when Tuesday rolls around and you inevitably fail to run 10 miles, you've accidentally engaged in sabotage.
Sabotage.
Yeah, and for our B2 learners practicing their listening with us today, let's break that word down. Sabotage means to deliberately or even unconsciously ruin your own chances of success.
Ah, okay. So by setting an impossible standard, the failure is guaranteed.
Well,
You sabotage yourself to, like, protect your ego.
right, because you can tell yourself, well, nobody could stick to that crazy routine instead of just admitting you didn't want to get out of bed.
That is painfully relatable. So since grand plans are basically traps we set for ourselves, the antidote has to bypass that ego protection entirely.
Exactly.
The sources suggest these ridiculously small micro habits, like literally just putting on your running shoes and walking outside for 5 minutes.
By lowering the bar to the floor, you remove all the psychological friction. The goal becomes so easy that you'd feel silly not doing it.
Okay, but wait, let me push back on this a bit. Because if I just put on my shoes and walk for 5 minutes, my brain might trust me, sure, but my doctor is still going to say I'm out of shape. How does doing the bare minimum actually help bridge the gap to real results?
Because in those 5 minutes, you aren't trying to build muscle. You are building psychological momentum. The goal is to prove to your brain that you can carry through.
Carry through. That's our second key word, right? Meaning to actually complete something you promised or started instead of dropping it halfway.
Spot on. When you consistently carry through on a tiny action, you shift your identity. You become someone who does what they say. But doing that requires our third key word, which is self-discipline.
Right, self-discipline, the ability to make yourself do things even when you really don't feel like it.
Exactly. You treat that tiny 5-minute walk as a non-negotiable act of self-respect. You're relying on self-discipline rather than waiting around to feel inspired.
But let's be realistic here. We are human. We'll get sick or, have a late night at work. The tiny habit is going to get dropped eventually.
Oh, absolutely. Slipping up is completely inevitable. But mentally strong people don't use negative self-talk when they miss a day. They view it as a data point, not a character flaw.
So they don't beat themselves up over it.
No, because beating yourself up is just another form of that sabotage we talked about earlier. It gives you an excuse to just quit entirely. Instead, they apply self-compassion to do a quick reset.
Letting go of the shame is what allows you to show up imperfectly the next day.
Yes. And showing up imperfectly is still a massive vote of confidence in yourself. Rebuilding that internal trust is just a slow, gentle burn.
It really is. It's not an overnight switch at all. So here is a final provocative thought for you to mull over today. Think about the absolute smallest, most ridiculously easy promise you can make to yourself right now. We are talking reading one single sentence, or just drinking 1 glass of water. If you keep that tiny promise every single day, how drastically might your relationship with yourself change by this time next year?